So just by way of introductions, um, the person that's speaking to you, my name is Kate Ringham. I'm the Associate Dean for Professional Education and Business Engagement at the Oxford Brookes Business School, and I'm delighted to be joined on the call today by Tess Taylor from Tap Social. So Tess, do you just want to introduce yourself a little bit there?
Yes, of course. Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm Tess. I'm one of the founders and directors at Tap Social. We're a social enterprise brewery, bakery, and hospitality organization, and we employ people in prison and prison leavers. I was fortunate enough to do the Help to Grow course in the last cohort. And so I've been invited today just to share any experiences with it and to tell you my feedback on it, as I understand you might be joining.
So as we say, this is and thank you, Tess, for joining us. We're also joined by Mona, who is helps with the organisation, the smooth running, point of inquiry, and it is absolutely wonderful at organising us all. So so any sort of questions about eligibility or how it all works, Mona will be able to help us too. So the purpose of the webinar and the aim of the session is very much to answer questions that you might have on the Help to Grow management program. But I just wanted to start by speaking a little bit about how we at Oxford Brookes Business School work with businesses, and then focus on the Help to Grow program. Please, this is a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, either drop them into the chat, come off mute, talk to us. We want to make sure that as you leave the webinar, you've had all the answers that you want about the program. So in terms of the business school, obviously we're a business school. We conduct teaching, research and consultancy, but we also view that supporting businesses is part of our ethos, is very much one of the reasons and one of the functions that we have as the business school. We do want to be part of the local ecosystem for businesses, and the ways in which we do that are on the right-hand side of the screen. So you know, if you're interested in working with Oxford Brookes Business School, there's opportunities to help support growing your business, and that's where the Help to Grow program sits, along with some other programs that we offer. We offer training and development, such as coaching courses and things like that. And then we've got opportunities, if you wanted to work with our students. So students doing, you know, client projects or consultancy projects. And then at the far end of the scale, so to speak, is partnering with experts. So if you wanted to work with, particularly on research type projects or innovation ideas, then we have opportunities to work together in that way. But as I mentioned, the focus of this particular webinar is about the Help to Grow management program. So just to explain Help to Grow management, it's a government initiative. It's been running now for nearly 3 years, and it is aimed at leaders of small and medium-sized enterprises who are looking to develop their businesses in the way that they want to. So it's thinking about management, strategic skills, and thinking about what growth looks like for a particular business and how that growth might be, how to make that growth happen. So the Help to Grow management program is focusing around the skills that are needed to develop a business, lead a business, and think about how it might grow. Alongside that, there's opportunities to think about resilience and improving resilience within businesses. The program was launched pretty much off the back of the COVID pandemic, and so in the early days there was lots of discussion about how businesses had responded to the pandemic. You know, what had that meant in terms of the way business was done, changes, opportunities, the challenges. So there's a sense of that, helping leaders think about, you know, building the resilience that they need and the business needs. Innovation is a key theme. So really thinking about innovation, and that links to the final point there about digital technologies. So the content Help to Grow management program came about through some research that the Department for Skills had conducted at the time about why there might be a productivity gap between business in the UK and businesses elsewhere in Europe. And one of the areas that was identified as a potential drag, if you like, on productivity was the speed at which digital technologies were adopted. So there are some sort of cross-cutting themes within the Help to Grow management program, and digital technology and adoption of digital technology is one of them, along with sustainability and responsible business. There's also, as we'll go through the content in detail, there's also opportunities to think about, employee engagement and how you bring the team with you if you're thinking about developing the business, and thinking about marketing and financial strategies. So 12-week program developed by government in conjunction with business schools across the UK. The content is pretty standardized, but what we as Oxford Brookes Business School do is bring our subject matter experts. So it's members of our academic faculty who deliver some of the content. The cohorts of businesses that are brought together, and we normally have a cohort of about between 20 and 25 leaders on each group of the Help to Grow management cohort, come from all sorts of different sectors. And certainly for me, as I've watched and taught on the programme at various times, watching the interaction between lots of different sectors has been one of the highlights of the programme. And this is the point at which I was just going to get Tess to reflect on, what she felt about that mix of sectors coming together.
Yeah, I think that was definitely one of the best aspects about it, was that it was such a varied group. And so I'm sure I'll come on to this, Kate, but the way it works is obviously you have your big group of 20 to 25 people, and then you also have a peer group with about 4 or 5 people, depending on the overall size. And within even the small group as well, we had such a mix from all different areas, and it was just really, really helpful to get those different perspectives. And it was just a chance to connect with people that otherwise we probably wouldn't cross paths very much in terms of working relationships, but they came with so much knowledge that was really applicable actually to the industry that I work in, and so many different ideas. So it was kind of that knowledge sharing opportunity that doesn't come around very often. And it was just a really interesting way to work rather than have it really focused on one specific targeted industry. I think it made much more sense the way that they've done it. So that was, yeah, a massive highlight, I think.
Absolutely. And the conversation, it always amazes me, the sort of the overlap of ideas coming from very, very different sectors. So some of the challenges are very similar, but the solutions come from different places, and the conversations are so rich across sectors. And there is, I've been teaching now for 15 years. It's still some of the best learning I see as people watching people, share experience, really support each other. In terms of the way the program is structured, the 12 weeks are broken down into 4 what I call blocks. So 4 blocks. The first block is looking at strategies for growth and innovation. You'll see that there are 2 module. So module, M stands for module. Module 1 and module 2. These are 2-hour online content sessions, as I said, delivered by our subject matter experts. And then the third module is a case study, and that's a face-to-face event that happens at Oxford Brookes campus in Headington. So the block is broken down into 2-hour online sessions for the first 2 weeks, and then a 4-hour face-to-face case study. The online sessions are recorded. So, we totally and utterly understand, your time as business leaders is not always under your own control and things happen. So if you aren't able to make one of the online sessions, It's possible to watch the recording. The recordings are made available. And that's absolutely fine. We don't record the case studies, the face-to-face sessions, because they're not that type of environment. It's more of it's a facilitated case study. It's difficult to make a sensible recording of that. So that's the teaching and the case studies, and then the rest of the program involves the peer calls that Tess mentioned, the opportunity for mentoring, and it's all building up to the growth plan. You can see in terms of this slide, this gives you the overview of the content. So we go from, thinking about, strategies you might adopt for growth and how innovation might help that. Then there's a block that's thinking about engaging with customers, thinking very much there around, marketing proposition, value propositions, thinking about, the business itself. So block 3, I always think of as being the employee side of it, slightly more internally focused. And then finally, operations and financial strategies. So Tess, is there anything you'd like to comment there on whether, the breadth of coverage of what we covered?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the main thing that I would say is that there were certain weeks where I would go in thinking, oh, well, we've kind of already developed this within our business, and maybe this week isn't going to be as applicable to me. And I was so wrong, because it was so helpful in kind of resetting that. And it makes you kind of go back and look at, for example, the marketing strategy and things that I thought we had really down. It actually comes at it from a different angle. And so if you have something in place already, it's useful, and you can go back and kind of revise your existing strategies and the existing things that you've made within your business. But it's a really useful way to kind of go back and check them and be forced to actually look at what you've already got in place, as well as developing new things. I think as well, the one thing that one of the major key highlights for me was the section on employee engagement and leading change. It's something that I think every company likes to think that they're doing well with employee engagement and that they have a happy team. But I think it really made me think, like, step back and have a look. And on the back of it, I've put in so many new things for the team. We've started doing more regular appraisals and checkups and team socials. And I guess we'll come on to mentoring as well, Kate. But yeah. I took that as a real thing with my mentor through this program. We developed a whole plan for what we were going to do for employee engagement. So it's a really kind of in-depth look at every area of your business. And it doesn't matter if you've never touched on that aspect of it, or if you think you have a really developed strategy already in place. You can kind of come at it from either side of those, and it's really, really useful. So there was, every single week was actually just incredibly insightful. And I took a lot away from it. And yeah, I think it covers so many different things, but in a really kind of in a complete way. It's not just like dipping in. It actually is a really good, proper, in-depth look at each of the categories as well, which I found really helpful.
And the approach that is adopted is one that's very practical. This is looking at how do the current thinking within the business environment, and where a university has taken universities have taken a view, research various areas. We're looking at, what does this mean practically? How does this help businesses? It's not an academic program, and a couple of people have said, well, I was a bit nervous coming back to a university, or I've never engaged with a university, and that was a bit daunting at the start, but it's been absolutely fine. So it is a course that is designed to be practical, engaging, but based on very much the current research and current thinking within the business world. The other thing
I would agree with that. And sorry to interrupt, Kate, I would just say as well, the facilitator for each course, whether it was online or in person, they were really great with that, and they would kind of make sure that everybody was brought along through the whole thing. And I would say you get out of it kind of as much as you put in. So if they really encourage conversation, and it's all about asking questions. And I thought that was it was great, because often on calls like this, you end up just saying not much, and kind of you can easily zone out, but it was so engaging, and they really keep people interested and involved. So I think the facilitators do a really good job of it as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tess. The materials that are provided, you are available via a learning platform. It's called Canvas. You might have come across it before. But and those materials are available for the next 12 months. So you can take the materials that you're working with and use those to then, if you like, cascade or however you want to use the information within your organization. So you're getting a set of both content for yourself, but also a really, I think, very well put together set of slide decks, materials that you can use with others if you wanted to. So Tess mentioned there the facilitator. So throughout the course, there's a subject matter expert that is presenting information, but there's also a facilitator, and that person is generally with you for the whole 12 weeks. So they're always present. They're taking an overview of how the cohort is working, and also making sure that everybody's trying to make sure that people can engage in the way that they want to. But there's continuity as well, that you're meeting a face that's recognizable each week. Occasionally, a facilitator has another commitment and there'll be somebody stepping in, but it's someone who knows the program really well. And the other thing the facilitators do is run the peer group calls. So on the weeks where you have a 2-hour online session, in that week there is also a peer group call, to think about how the content might be applied within your organizations. So it's a smaller group, as Tess mentioned, that's thinking about, what does this mean for me, and an opportunity to discuss at that level. So Tess, what did you think of the peer calls?
Yeah, again, really good. And again, you kind of get back what you put into it. So those were on a different morning, but mine was Friday morning. And it was just a really nice way to kind of reflect back on what you talked about in that 2-hour session earlier in the week. And to hear from all the different organizations that were involved in it as well, how they were applying it to their businesses, to share ideas. It was just a really kind of like a supportive community, essentially. And you could have a bit of share information, but also share questions and problems that you're having, and then get some really practical feedback. So I found them really useful.
And I think that last bullet point, the extra resource beyond the course, I think really sums it up. That was a comment from one of our very early cohorts who found the peer group in particular a really valuable opportunity to have open discussions about the challenges that as leaders people are facing. Alongside peer calls, there is also an opportunity to engage with mentoring. So within the program, you have access to 10 hours of one-to-one mentoring. Now, the mentoring is not managed by Oxford Brookes University itself. It's managed through Enterprise Nation. There's an opportunity to engage, you go onto a platform, look at mentor profiles and connect with a mentor that wants to work, that you think you can work well with together. And as I say, there are 10 hours available that can be allocated throughout the course as works for you and the mentor. And I think, Tess, you were mentioning that your mentoring has actually gone past the end of the taught element of the program, and that's worked for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've still got a few sessions to go. My mentor's been amazing. She's been a bit of a therapist, to be honest, and she's been just great as a sounding board, bouncing ideas back and forth and getting just some really practical feedback and input on how we could be doing things. And yeah, on a personal growth level, she's been really brilliant. But she's also been really flexible. I took some time off in August and she has allowed us to continue. It was just coordinating through Enterprise Nation in terms of when the mentorship would finish, and they've been really flexible with timings for it as well. So yeah, the mentorship aspect of it has been awesome, really like valuable and crazy to get that all for free and included in the course.
So the as I mentioned, the the focus of the program is to grow, so it's called Help to Grow. Growth is defined by what you want in your business, so it's not in any way prescribed as a financial metric or a percentage or anything like that. And the growth plan that you as a leader are developing over the program is something that is very much personal to you. And possibly your mentor, if that's who you want to work on with it. It's not in any way assessed. It's not something that Oxford Brookes sees. So the growth plan is the structure through which you capture your ideas, and gives that focus as to how you might apply the knowledge that you're developing over time. So just to summarize then what the structure of the program is, we start with an induction session the week before the sort of teaching commences. That's normally an hour, maybe an hour and a quarter. And then in the first 2 weeks, we have that each week has the 2-hour online teaching session and a 1-hour peer call. And then in the third week, it's the face-to-face workshop in Headington, but there's no peer call because obviously the 4-hour session is a bigger commitment. That then repeats for the 4 blocks, and the mentoring row at the bottom just indicates that mentoring is available. You don't have to take it as 10 1-hour sessions. It can be flexed, as Tess was mentioning, to however you and your mentor wish to arrange it. The next program that we're running is starting on the 6th of November, and that obviously runs over the Christmas period. So just to reassure you that what the way that the program is structured that is coming up next, the weeks 1 to 6 will run prior to the Christmas break, finishing on the 18th of December, and then there will be a break and restarting on the 8th of January. With weeks 7 through to week 12. So we are trying to accommodate that Christmas period as we go. Once you've completed the course, you have opportunities to engage with the Help to Grow network. So this is sort of a national, regional, local network. The national network is very much online, digital network. Regional and local events are can be face-to-face events, but you are joining that alumni network. And obviously, having engaged with Oxford Brookes, you're also joining the Oxford Brookes family. And part of that is our Oxford Brookes Enterprise Centre. So as by participating in the Help to Grow programme, if you wish to, also access the Oxford Brookes Enterprise Centre. So that's some flexible co-working sort of lab space. Another way to access, if you wish to, OBU students. Again, opportunities for networking through the university. If you want to get involved in that, then it's a case of talking to us once you arrive. So then just to finish up the last 5 minutes, just to explain a little bit about eligibility. The QR code on screen there takes you through to our web pages that have more detail on this. So feel free to capture that. So eligibility, you do need to have been a registered business for more than 1 year. So one of the things that we have to do in terms of checks is just check with Companies House whether you've been a registered business. If your business employs between 5 and 9 employees, then 1 person can join a Help to Grow program. If the business has more than 10 employees, you can, if you wished, send 2 people from the business to the Help to Grow program. And sometimes we've noticed that's been of particular value because it gives people from the same business the opportunity to reflect on and discuss a little bit about what that means for their business. If there's 2 of them, 2 people there to be able to absorb the ideas and think about what that means. Often it helps if it's 2 people with slight different responsibilities within the business. you do need to have a minimum of 5 employees, but they don't need to be 5 full-time equivalents. I'm thinking, Mona, is that is 5 employees. I'll just double check with Mona on that one. But if you're worried about eligibility, please contact us.
Yes. It should be at least 5 full-time employees.
Oh, sorry,
Registered with the business.
5 full-time employees, right? Mm. So the value of the program has been, in terms of the way the government has thought about funding this, the cost of the program is £7,500 per person, but that's 90% funded by the government, and then the scheme as it's devised would anticipate the businesses pay £750 per person. But Oxford Brookes University have used their business support fund to reduce that contribution to 0. So the cost to you of joining the Help to Grow management program is nothing. So it is for free. So it is, we obviously, there is a cost obviously in terms of your time and your contribution, and that is important, but there is no financial cost to joining the program. If you do have any questions about whether or not you're eligible, please contact us, and we can find out and help you with those. So then just moving on to when is it happening? So the last of our 2024 programs will be starting on the 6th of November. The taught content, so the online sessions and the face-to-face sessions, will happen on Wednesday mornings, with the peer calls on Friday mornings. With the recent change in government, we are still awaiting to hear what the future is for the Help to Grow management program. So at the moment, this is the only available program that we have. We don't have any further programs on our books. So if you are interested in this opportunity, I would recommend that you think about whether or not you can make that 6th of November start. So I'd just like to turn it round to the audience now and just to ask it, does anybody have any questions that they'd like to raise with us now? Any questions for myself, for Tess? I'm really hoping that means that we've covered everything you want to know. If there are questions that occur to you once we finish the call, which is always the way when I join a webinar, then the email address for our business engagement team is there. So OBBS-BEE at brooks.ac.uk is the chance that you can, that's the opportunity to get in touch with us. Please do ask any questions that you have, and provide us with any feedback as well. So any questions you've got for us as a business engagement team, please do get in touch. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen there, so you get to see us.